Hi, it's the M.L.M for the Soul Channel. I do have a new topic for today. Before I begin, I just would like to say, may the words and expressions of my mouth and the thoughts and meditations of my heart find favor and acceptance before you, Hashem. And some people I thank have inspired me. I hope they can inspire you as well. And I will have links below to their sites. They are Rabbi Yossi Mizrahi, Rabbi Eli Mansour, Relon Anava, Rabbi Yuval Ovadia, Rabbi Daniel Asser, Rabbi Michael Skovak, Jews for Duties, Rabbi David Usher, Rabbi Reuven, and Rabbi Yosef Chesney. So if you never checked out the channel before, I will have a link below to my first video which explains what M.L.M for the soul means, what it stands for, what I'm doing. So this is on the upcoming Parasha Toldot, or Toldos, however you pronounce it. And this is from the weekly Parasha Insights by Rabbi Eli Mansour, and I call this Never Give Up the Quest. Now, just as an aside, this relates more to the Torah Shabbal Peh, which is oral Torah, and most of the time women don't usually study that, but we do have a lot of the commentaries that are from the oral Torah. So, but it doesn't mean that women can't do it, but usually it's on a different level, and there are books that you can, or Sfarim, that you can actually use. But just so you know, because it's going to kind of go in that direction, but it doesn't mean a woman can't try to learn it. It's just a different level for her. So we read in Parashat Toldot of Yitzchak Avinu's experience when he lived among the Plishtim, including the story of the wells which his shepherds dug. The Torah relates that the first few times when Yitzchak men dug wells, the shepherds of Gerar fought over the water, claiming it was theirs. Both times, Yitzchak's shepherds moved to a different location and dug new wells. Finally, after the third time, there was no fighting. Yitzchak then proclaimed, Ki ata hirchiv Hashem lanu ufarinu ba'aretz. Indeed, now Hashem has made space for us, and we have been fruitful in the land. That's from 26:22. He therefore named the site of this well Rechovot, from the word hirchiv. Rav Shlomo Halberstam Ababov in Divrei Shlomo explains the symbolic significance of these wells which Yitzchak Avinu dug. He cites the Tikkunei Zohar as commenting that when the Torah speaks of the shepherds of Gerar fighting over the water, it alludes to the fight that would be waged over the Torah Shebaal Peh, our oral tradition, the laws and teachings of the Talmud, and its countless volumes of commentaries. Just as the Plishtim fought over the wells dug by Yitzchak, our enemies have fought with the Jewish people over the Talmud. The Torah here refers to the water discovered by Yitzchak's men as Be'er Mayim Chaim, a well of living water, alluding to the oral tradition because this is the source of life for the Jewish nation, the source of our spiritual sustenance. The wells were dug in the Nachal, the valley, which is a name of Hashem, which represents the words Noser Chesed Lalafim. Isn't that beautiful? So you take the Nun, which is Noser, the Chaf, which is Chesed, and the Lamed, so it's Nachal, and so you get Noser Chesed Lalafim, which means preserves kindness for thousands of generations, and which is thus associated with Hashem's attribute of compassion, and which is thus associated. And then continuing, the Torah Shabbal has a source of great mercy and compassion for the Jewish people, and it is thus alluded to in the Torah through the word Nachal, which signifies Hashem's mercy. And also, I've learned this from different rabbis. I think Rabbi Mizrahi, Yossi Mizrahi, and some others, that if the other nations came to us and said we had to give them one of our Torahs, we'd have to give the written Torah, not the oral, because the oral Torah is what gives us all the explanations from the Torah how to do things. And the Torah doesn't explain to us like how to make tefillin, where's the bris milah take place, like what part of the body, and Shabbos. So that's just an aside, so that's how important the oral Torah is. And it has been since written down, since we first received it. It's not oral. It's not technically oral anymore. Accordingly, the fights waged over these wells represent the assault made on the Torah Shebaal Peh. On several different occasions in our history, hostile Gentiles ordered the burning of the Talmud. Most famously, in 1244, the authorities in Paris ordered the burning of all the editions of the Talmud throughout the city. The Maharami Rothenberg, one of the leading Torah sages of the time, composed a heart-rending kinna, which is lamenting this tragedy, comparing the destruction of the Talmud to the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash. That's the Holy Temple. The Ashkenazi communities had the custom to read this kinna among the kinot, or kinnas, recited on Tisha B'Av, mourning the loss of the Beit HaMikdash, emphasizing the equation between the burning of the Talmud and the burning of the temple. However, just as Yitzchak and his men did not give up and continued digging in search of water after being assaulted by the shepherds of Gerar, similarly the Jews never gave up their quest for knowledge of the Talmud. Each time the Talmud was destroyed, they continued onward and dug again. They printed new texts and persisted in their devotion to Talmud study. Recognizing that this study is our, quote, water, our nation's life source, they continued unabated, never relenting in their dedication to the study of our sacred Torah, Sheba'al Peh. The Divrei Shlomo writes that the third well dug by Yitzchak, over which no fights were waged, represents the flourishing of Torah Sheba'al Peh in our generation here in the United States. Yitzchak said at the time, Ki hirchiv Hashem lanu, that Hashem had allowed us to expand, quote, expand and grow. Indeed, in modern times, the study of the Talmud has, quote, expanded and flourishes like never before. It has been translated into several languages along with lucid commentaries and explanations. Modern technology has allowed everyone to access classes explaining the Talmud with clarity and in great detail. In our day and age, there is no excuse for anyone not to study Talmud. And again, that's really more related for the men, as it has been accessible to one and all. And sure enough, the Daf Yomi movement has drawn thousands upon thousands of participants who loyally study a page of Talmud each day. Wherever we go, where there are Jews, we see men with a Gemara. Truly, in our time, we have seen the fulfillment of Hirchiv Hashem Lanu. When the study of the oral law has flourished and blossomed, flourished and blossomed, a tongue twister like never before. Let us appreciate the great privilege we have to live in these exciting times and recommit ourselves to the devoted study of the Talmud, through which we will access Hashem's unlimited mercy, which will be bestowed upon us, our entire community, and all Am Yisrael. Amen. But again, like I said, even though women don't study that, we could still never give up our quest for what we do and our studies that we do. And may we all merit to live and see the coming of Mashiach speedily in our days and the rebuilding of our final and everlasting Beit HaMikdash. Amen. And thanks for watching.